right from the beginning, I told you that it is possible to defeat this virus provided we are disciplined and we understand the ways in which this virus spreads. The virus spreads in really two ways. Two ways. First of all, it spreads through the one with the virus sneezing. Okwetiamra. The other time I was trying to contribute English and I talked of sneezing out and sneezing in. Then my grandchildren told me that that was not real English. I said, what is the real English? They said what we call okwetiamra is the sneezing. That what we call okshoreza, when you suck in instead of blowing out, they say they call it sniffing. Ah, I said, but I thought it was a dog which sniffs on the ground, which is okaga. So anyway, I didn't resolve the issue with my grandchildren. So I have left it. I'm now following them. They say it is sneezing means okwetiamra. When you okwetiamra, I don't know, okwasamla kwa Uganda. Huh? Okwasimla. So you can translate it in the local languages. But okwetiamra is this when you, by reflex action actually, it's not normally planned. It is reflex action where you blow out. And then coughing or cholera. When you do that near somebody, when somebody does that near you, you breathe in the virus from the air contaminated by his ruoya. Ruoya, if you don't know, because I'm trying to help the world, actually, not just Africans, because the world needs to know the knowledge of Africa. Ruoya. Ruoya is the moisture that comes from people's breathing particles of moisture, which the scientists call droplets. Droplets. The mist on a glass that you can see when it is in front of you and you breathe into it. If you go into the front of a glass and you breathe out, especially when it is cold, you will soon see a mist forming on the glass. That is the type of otherwise invisible moisture stream which comes out, and it has got what they call, these scientists, they call droplets. But I think for us, if you know Nyankore, you can call it ruoya. Ruoya, even from food, you can see the steam which comes out of the food. You don't call it smoke. That steam which comes from cooking food, please don't call it smoke. It is a ruoya. So the same ruoya which comes from us, I think when you cough or when you cough, especially when you sneeze, even when you breathe normally, if you breathe near a surface, you will see it. But the language, the word we use is ruoya. So it seems it's that ruoya which carries the virus to when people are near, when people are near you. So this is one way where the one with the virus either sneezes or coughs, and the virus rides on that invisible stream of microscopic mucuses and when you are near, it enters you. That's one way. The mist you see forming on the glass surface is the roya or the droplets. It is that jet of roya that carries the virus from the infected person to the victim. This is, as I have said above, one way the virus spreads. The second way is for the infected person, either through sneezing or coughing, or after blowing her nose or his nose, or kwefuka. I don't know what they call it in Uganda, or kwefuka, the Nyankore one. When you blow they say blowing your nose. Of course, this is very dangerous. You don't blow the nose. The nose is there. Blowing means you onalipua. Umuluganda bakita batya? That's the kunyiza. Oh, so when you kunyiza, or when you kunyiza, and then touches the surface, a table, or a door handle, or a book. So either you sneeze near a surface, and the droplets go on that surface, or you cough near a surface, and the microscopic roya from the coughing settles on the surface, or you blow your nose, as they say, which is okunyiza, and then maybe using tissue which is not very thick, then it gets on your hands, your own hand, the one who has blown, and then you touch the surface. So the virus now goes from the person to the surface, a book, a Bible in the church. Some people think that the Bible should not be sanitized because they think, because they are holy, that God will come and sanitize them. But my Bible, the other day I was preaching, and I sanitized my Bible, and I'm sure God was happy with me. Any surface, a table, a door handle, a book, you either sneeze near it, or cough near it, or touch it after the kunyiza, the virus will stay there. And these people are saying that the virus, especially in the book, stays for a bit of time. When the book stays for how long? On the book, 5 days. Stay there, sitting. On the plastic. Yes, on plastics, it says longer. I don't know why. 9 days, they are sitting, waiting for a careless person to come and touch it. And then contaminates it with the virus. These are the only ways this virus will spread. That is why it is easy to defeat it, like we did with AIDS, by behavior change. Actually, I think this although we are not using that phrase yet, this virus is more of a behavior issue than anything else. Because you remember, when AIDS started, people thought it was simply a medical issue. But in the end, we defeated it by behavior. Yeah. Behavior change. So then once you you either get infected through the sneezing or the coughing, which is direct from the infected to the victim when you are nearby, or from the infector to the surface, and then the victim comes and touches himself. If you only touch and you don't touch yourself, the virus will stay on your hands for the whole day until you go and wash and it goes off. The only problem comes when you touch a contaminated surface and then you touch yourself. And not only touch yourself in a few sensitive parts. Not the leg, not the foot, not the arm, no. Just 3 points. The mouth, the nose, and the eyes. Finish. So really, for me, when I assess an enemy, I am able to know what to do. This problem is not as big as it looks. It is really more of a big problem of behavior and carelessness. Because it's not like a mosquito. You see, the mosquito is very dangerous because the mosquito can bite you, whatever precautions you take if you are out. Because it's not under your control. As long as the mosquitoes are around and you go out, they can bite you. But this one you can control. We can control. We can make sure that the one who is coughing, you don't go in public, first of all. Second, even if you go into public, don't get near him, you people. Originally they were saying the virus can fly for 1 meter, then they said 2 meters. Now the other day I saw them in BBC saying that it can fly for 4 meters. It can go for 4 meters. With the other kwetiamra, the sneezing and coughing, it can fly out. So this is the first point my comrade Ugandans, you need to understand. This virus can be stopped by us, by behavior. As we wait for the vaccines, as we wait for all those other things like with AIDS, because if we had to wait for the medicine of AIDS, it's now how many years? People would have been finished. When I alerted you about the AIDS, and I said, now, this thing is easy. Because we know the address, where it is. I told you. Why don't go to those places? Secondly, AIDS was coming from mother to child. That one we found a solution for it. Thirdly, it was coming from blood transfusion. And in no time we found a solution for that one also. So the 3 ways of AIDS were blocked. Were identified, advertised, I advertised them. My comrade in arms, Dr. Okwari, is a good comrade in arms, although we didn't agree on the on the tactics. For him, he was talking, love, carefully. He would put a small thing on TV. But you are not making alarm. When you make alarm, you make a big alarm, not just love carefully. But fortunately, he listened to my advice, and we worked together. So this is the same issue here. The 2 ways of this virus. If I have left a third one, these big people can tell me. All the big people are here, and all of them are doctors. If they say, you old man, you have left out something, then they will tell me that you forgot this one, you forgot that one. But from what I remember, these are the two ways. Kwesiamra, near other people. Or cholera, near other people. The one who has a kwesiamra, the one who has cholera, the one who has, what do you call, okwefka. Okwefka, they say it is a blow, that you are blowing your nose. And then you touch the surface, and then somebody touches the surface and touches himself. Not only touches himself, but touches himself in the few parts of the body. Yeah. I see people in the public touching their mouth, touching their eyes. What are these people doing with their eyes? Don't you know your eyes? Please, leave those eyes alone, and the mouth and the nose. The nose is dangerous because that one you need to clean it, but use the tissue. And use the left hand. Don't use the right. And when you use the left hand, please don't clap for the big people who are speaking in public. Please forget it. Thank them like that. Thank you very much for, or clap on the table like this with the right hand. We shall get time to praise the big people. Given the characteristics of this virus, it is my opinion that carelessness of the population, especially here in Uganda, is the main cause of the spread of this virus. In Europe, the USA, and Northern Asia, they may have more genuine challenges. First of all, they have very cold temperatures. I'm told that some of these viruses thrive in cold climates, unlike bacteria that like warm conditions, or those viruses with vector hosts, the ones which pass through other agents. For instance, yellow fever. Yellow fever is a virus. It passes through the mosquito, and that's how it is a problem. Actually, I'm now learning more. I thought viruses were very active in the tropics, but apparently they are not so successful in the tropics, except the ones which go through intermediate hosts, like the one of yellow fever. Is Ebola also a virus? But you know that one goes through monkeys. And I've been telling people, please don't eat monkeys. Why do you eat monkeys? Monkeys are your relatives. So how can somebody eat? How can somebody eat his relative? But somebody said Ebola also goes through other wild animals. Is this true? Which other wild animals? Baboons are your relatives. Bats. Oh, Banange, people eating bats. This is really madness. Why do you eat bats? I have cows. I have some of my people have goats. They have chicken at least. They have what do you call this? Condor, sheep. So you can see. It seems the viruses direct from human being to human being don't do well in the tropics. This one I didn't know. I've actually learned it recently. Some of my young teachers have. I'm also quite knowledgeable. So if you hear me speaking knowledgeable, don't think that I am the one who knew. I also studied from some other people. That apparently those cold climates because somebody was telling me that one of the reasons that virus is spreading very fast there in the north is that they had a very cold winter. Yeah. That very cold winter helped the virus to spread there. But it's not only the cold climate. It is secondly the way the people in Europe and America and Northern Asia, the way they live and travel in shared residential blocks using air conditioning, sharing old people's homes, sharing underground traveling systems with large numbers of people, that there is a system called the tube. I've never been in one, fortunately I've never been in anyone in one. That it is a tube, that they put you in a tube. Some of the things I hear, but I have never seen, but the name doesn't sound good. A tube. A human being to be put in a tube, that is... And how many people go in that tube? That there are very many. That's what I hear. Mm-hmm. Now, the other day you saw these ships, where these people were the rich people who all got sick, the cruise ships, which were in the ocean, they just there, but packed. So many people, I think there were like 10,000 or something like that in one ship. Huh? 250. Uh-huh. Huh? 250,000. So that way of life, plus the cold climate, don't sit here and say, because it has spread in Europe, it will also spread here. Please analyze your own situation. I don't like that monkeyism of copying, that you are learning. Analyze your own situation. Yeah. We are living a totally different life. So that's why because of the way they live and those cold climates and the way they travel with large numbers of people makes them prone to this type of problem, this type of attack. In our conditions, it is much easier to control a virus of this type, provided we act correctly. After analysis, one major way of defeating this virus was to deny it large concentrations of people that it could infect. Hence, most of the list of the 34 measures which I announced on the 18th of March, the 21st of March, and the 30th of March 2020 were in that line of dispersing the big concentrations of Ugandans so that we deny the virus where to land. The following were the measures. 1, close all the education institutions, which were 73,000 of them. You can imagine, 73,000 education institutions with a combined population of 15 million young Ugandans. So we told our young people, our future, we said, you go home, leave these concentration sites. Number 2, suspend communal prayers in mosques, churches, or in stadia and other open air venues, or even in closed ones, because some of them try to convert homes into prayer communal. So it's we stopped all communal praying. The other day on Sunday, I was a preacher and I preached to just a small group of my grandchildren, and I'm sure God was hearing us. Stop all public political rallies, cultural gatherings, or conferences. 4, ban Ugandans from moving to or through Category 1 country. That was the time when we still were allowing the airlines to land here. We didn't allow people to go to or through those countries which were bad off that time. 5, allow returning Ugandans, provided they undergo mandatory quarantine at their cost for 14 days at the venue identified by the ministry. That's when we were still allowing Ugandans to come back from abroad. Number 6, allow the non-agricultural gathering points, e.g. factories, hotels, large plantations, markets, tax parks, to continue and follow the SOPs. That's when we were still thinking that the work sites, all of them without distinction, should continue, the non-agricultural work sites, hotels and so on, and markets. 7, we had to discourage the Uganda-style weddings, which I call the hexagonal, where the clan of the boy comes, the clan of the girl comes, the maternal uncles of the boy, of Koja, of the boy come, the maternal uncles of the girl come, then the maternal uncles of the father come, then the. So when I tried to count how many groups were involved, I thought they were 6-sided. That's why I called it the hexagonal, 6-sided, extravagant Ugandan-style weddings. Weddings allowed only a maximum of 7 people. You just go with the relevant people, the ones who are really crucial for the operation. The boy and the girl, crucial. Then the priest. Then the 2 parents, this 2 for this side, 2 for the other side. I don't know whether the flower girls and all those people are necessary, but the wedding could go on. But maybe the matron and the what do you call the other one? The best man, to act as witnesses, to say that we were there when these people were getting married. I think that may be legally important. Barriers. We said barriers cannot be postponed. That would be too much. But please, let a small number of people, the immediate people, be the ones to bury. And since that time, I'm aware even people whom I know myself have died and have been buried, and it has been no problem. They've been buried. One of our army officers, Skaj, died. The other day we had one of our prominent people in Shema area, Ruihangwe, died. The other day we had the father of Monica Mkama dying, and other people. We had one of our very strong women leaders in Mukono, Mchara Makumbi. She died, and so people have been listening. We suspended the monthly auction, cattle markets, livestock markets in the rural areas, Ebikomera, and also suspended the weekly food markets, the Obutari. In Ankola they make a distinction. If it is the cattle market, they call it Chikomera. If it is food market, which is weekly, they call it Akatari. We stopped all that. We said if you want to buy, you go to the farm. Because the whole idea here is don't gather these people. Don't gather people who are coming from different places. This is the whole point. so that if the problem is somewhere, let it remain there. We isolate it there until we solve it. But the problem when you can imagine in a market or a chikomera, you are getting people from 10,000 sources, like our chikomera of Ntungamo. Oh, it was covering the whole one half of Rwampara and Ruhama. So you can imagine. The ones from Ruchindo, the ones from Ruhama, the ones from Itojo, the ones from Ntungamo, they all come. And then they all go back. There is no way you can control an infectious disease. There's no way. It's very dangerous. Very dangerous. So we are saying, don't gather. If you want to go and buy, you go and buy food from the farm. Because there it is you and the farm. Even if there is a problem, it's just between the two of you. It's between the farm people, in case they have a problem, and you who went to buy. And when the problem comes, you can trace. Suppose something happens in the farm. A disease breaks out. You can come and say, whom have you interacted with in the last 2 weeks? Oh, a man came from Kampala and bought food from here. Oh, what is his name? It's now easy to follow. But how would you follow 10,000 people who came to a monthly market? How? You don't even have a record. But even if you have the record, it will be too much work. So this is the logic. At that time, we were still allowing public transport systems of buses, minibuses, borders to continue, provided we gave them SOPs, how to operate. That time we thought we could tell them to wash their hands, to do this, to not overload and things like that. We thought it would work. That time we suspended all the discos, the dances, the bars, sports, music shows, cinemas and concerts. That was number 11. Number 12, we advised the public to maintain hygiene measures such as not coughing or sneezing, no spitting, washing with soap and water or using sanitizers, regularly disinfecting surfaces such as tables, door handles, and not touching your eyes, nose, or mouth with contaminated or unwashed hands. That was number 12. We advised the public on good nutrition to strengthen the body defense system. 14, stopped all passengers coming into by air, land, or water. This was later, which we announced a bit later. Because the dates, some measures were announced on the 18th, others on the 21st, others on the 30th. We kept increasing. This came later. We stopped all passengers coming into Uganda by air, land, or water. This was now when we saw that the attempt to control them, to let them come, but we controlled them. We found it was, after the cases which came in, they were from those. The extra days we added. Had we, when we made the first announcement, I think we would have blocked many of the cases which came to surface later. This affected incoming planes, buses, taxis, or boats. We closed Entebbe International Airport and all other border points of entry except for cargo aeroplanes and cargo vehicles. 15, we now prohibited pedestrians from entering from the neighboring countries, because originally we were not so much minding about pedestrians, but this time we added them on. 16, all public passenger transport vehicles are stopped. So now this time we stopped all public passenger vehicles. Taxis, coasters, buses, passenger trains, tukutuku, and border borders. 17, only food sellers should remain in the markets, and the non-food sellers should suspend their activities. 18, private vehicles. At that time, we said the private vehicles should continue, but with 3 people. Now the problem is that very soon, that one will come later. Number 19, however, we exempted ambulances, army vehicles, garbage collection vehicles. Those ones had to continue, and even now I'm sure they are continuing. Now later on, very soon we realized that the private vehicles which we had allowed had now become public passenger vehicles. These Ugandans, money can kill them. Where there is money, the Ugandans will die. This one I have confirmed. Esente zigenda kubamalawo. Omululu gwa sente. You can imagine we are talking about death, and we are saying don't carry people because you don't know whether they are carrying a virus or not. The people had said, you move with your private car, because we were assuming that a person is moving with his family. The driver and 2 children. And even then you don't go with all the children, just with 2, because we didn't want overcrowding. Or, Garvin Dizabwe, ziri ku sente. Buli kyatunulako sente. So, the people who are private car owners, they saw now an opportunity. Katonda yebale. The tax people have been removed from the business. The border borders have been removed from the business. Now we, the car owners, are now going to become the taxis. So they would dutifully carry 2 people, but the 2 people are not family members. 2 people are bapangisa, are passengers, and they are paid a very high price, 50,000 from Kampala to Jinja. Even if you load the whole what do you call it, the whole taxi, I don't think you will get so much. To get 100,000 from 2 people, when you load 14 passengers, how much would you get between here and Jinja? When a taxi is fully loaded with 14, huh? Mm-hmm. It's not the same as you carrying 2 people. Yes, even if it was a fully loaded tax, it would pay maybe 50. He would earn maybe 50,000. 50,000 going, 50,000 coming back. But this one was earning 100,000 going, 100,000 coming back. So, and of course, apart from the unchristian behavior, which one feels very sorry about, what sort of Ugandans omululu bananga wasente? But more seriously was that it was undermining our whole strategy of not mixing up people. So that is the whole point. Don't mix up. So that when the problem comes, it only remains in one area and we find it there and isolate it. So that's why we said, no. Even the private cars stop moving. All of you stop moving. Then we suspended, 21, we suspended shopping arcades, hardware shops, which gather a lot of people to sell and buy non-food items. These were suspended for 14 days, starting on the 1st of April. Directed all the non-food shops, which some of our people call stores, to close. Because for me, from Mtungamo, I know that a duka is a duka. A duka is a shop. Now when you say store is where they keep a mwani. So how can a shop be a store? So we have had a very big disagreement. But some people said when they are back home in America, that they call shops stores. I said, but now we are back home here, so let's use what we know here. Zinakulira kuduka banange. Duka zaba yindi ntungamo. Duka. Bogamba. Store yemwanyi. It was in Kahunga, run by the cooperative. That's the store. With multiple definitions, but for no definition anymore. So we said all the shops should close. Only food shops and shops selling agricultural products, selling veterinary, selling detergents, and selling medicine should remain open. But some deliveries could be encouraged, so that people, instead of going to the shop, you get home deliveries. Abantu baleeta ebyetaagisa awaka instead of going to the shops. 23. The supermarkets for food should remain open, but with clear SOPs that restrict numbers that enter and leave the site at a given time, and handling of trolleys within the supermarket. Because the trolleys were a dangerous point of infection. Because somebody would come and push, another one comes and push. So there we needed some SOPs, maybe the use of gloves, and then the numbers to be controlled, not have too many in the supermarket that they go. 24, established food markets in Kampala and other towns should continue to be open while maintaining social distances. And 25, the sellers in those markets must not go home during the 14 days. They must arrange to stay nearby for that duration. It is that mixing that we want to freeze between home and route to home and work, and then the workplace. I must tell you that I was very much impressed. I hope that picture of the women sleeping in the market, Nabusai, would be kept to show how the Ugandans are abarwani. Because me, I know the Ugandans. I read them during the wars. All the things you are talking about are nothing to us. For us, Swasuranga Munsiko, Mutare, slept in the bush. And when we were in danger, now to danger of being killed, now to do it just for our health, is I knew they would do it. And I was very, very happy to see that picture of those women. The only thing to do now is that you should give them treated bed nets, so that they don't have, they are not bitten by mosquitoes. And also, you could give them polythene overa to protect themselves against the rain. But also you can fumigate. Like here, I normally fumigate around Nakasero to kill the mosquitoes. So around those markets, cases here can fumigate. So that when you sleep out, when there are no mosquitoes and you have got a good blanket, there's no problem. There's no problem. Saloons, are they saloons or salons? What's the proper word? What's that? Huh? But is it a French word? Uh-huh. Is it double O or single? Double O. That would be a saloon car. Anyway, whatever it is. That garage of the hair, where you people, you take the hair, One day I found one of my daughters being cooked. I said, but the girl is being cooked. Because she had put her head in something which was octogota. You know, when you are cooking food on a saucepan, when the water is boiling, it's called octogota. When the boiling water, the noise it makes. So I found my daughter. I said, this will have cooked my daughter. I was about to fight, but they said, no, this is Banang. Okay, Yamu. If you can break it. So the saloons, the lodges, the garages should also be shut for 14 days. Number 27, like the farms, factories should remain open, but the owners should arrange for the crucial employees to camp around the factory area for the 14 days. If they cannot do that, let them suspend production for 14 days. 28, construction sites should continue if they can be able to encamp their workers for 14 days. Otherwise, they should suspend construction for 14 days. 29, the essential services, i.e. the medical, agriculture, the veterinary, telecommunications, door-to-door delivery, financial institutions, all media, private security companies, cleaning services, garbage collection, fire brigade, fuel stations, water departments, and some cases here staff should continue to operate. That was number 29. 30th, cargo transport by train, plane, lorry, pickup, tuk-tukus, boda-boda, and bicycle within Uganda and between Uganda and the outside must continue, but only with minimum numbers technically needed as follows: cargo aircraft, only the crew; lorry, not more than 3 persons, i.e. driver, turnboy plus one person, and as will be directed by the Ministry of Transport, working with the National Task Force on the coronavirus. 31, URA should also not close on account of not paying tax. URA should not close people's businesses just because they have not paid taxes. They can give them time. 32, gatherings of more than 5 persons was prohibited. And 33, except for cargo planes, lorries, pickups, trains, starting with the 31st of March, at 1900 hours, there would be a curfew throughout the whole of Uganda. So during the night, only cargo planes, lorries, we had to allow the lorries to continue moving in the night because they need to get to Kampala by morning to bring the food. Otherwise, it would create a big problem. But it's no problem. There are just a few people who are moving. So those can move at night. The cargo planes, the lorries, the pickups, the trains could move. But everybody else had to obey the curfew. And the reason we introduced curfew was security. Because some people were beginning to use the night now to attack people, to steal, to do what? You know, there is a Satan in Africa, I think, but even in other parts of the world. But I think in Africa, Satan has become has been very active there for a long time. I think we should send him away so that he goes to other places. Because you stop them doing this, they doing this trouble, they make another trouble. You stop this one, they make another one. So it's really amazing why Ugandans cannot settle down and do good things for their own interest.